Hi, my name is Mike, and for the next few minutes I'll demonstrate how to construct your own immersion chiller, also known as a Wort or Wort Chiller, for your home brewing needs. First thing we'll do is review the materials that you'll need to construct your own Wort Chiller. I did some basic reading on the construction of a Wort Chiller and went down to my local hardware store, and I just let my imagination be my guide. First thing I did was buy a bucket. Found this at Home Depot. This will be used as the preform to wrap the coil around. The next thing was a garbage disposal connector. I'll use to step down from the faucet down to what will eventually be the copper tubing. Between the garbage disposal connector and my plastic tubing, I just have another connector. This one is threaded at the top and ridged at the bottom. The threaded end will go into the garbage disposal connector, and the ridged end will go into the plastic tubing. Here's the plastic tubing. Standard plastic tubing, you'll see them in coils of anywhere between 10 to 20 feet. I believe this is about 10 feet. I'll cut it in half, or even smaller than this. You'll need two lengths, relatively equal lengths. Standard pipe clamps that you screw on anywhere, depending on the tubing that you're using, from 3/8 to 1 inch. And finally, 25 to 50 feet of soft copper tubing. It'll make it easier to bend around your preform, and you'll want it in diameter and inner diameter of anywhere from 3/8 to 5/8 or larger to obtain the efficiency that you'll need to get your cold break. First thing we'll do during the construction phase is to take your preform, or the bucket, and your copper tubing. From there, what you want to do is take one of the free ends. The technique that I found the easiest is take the free end, put it on the top, and then begin to wrap the copper tubing around the preform. This may be a bit challenging depending on the length of your copper tubing. It can get bound up and a little unwieldy at times. But after a couple strands, you'll get used to manipulating the copper tubing. Once again, take the free end, put it on the top of the bucket, and then with your other free hand, begin to wrap the coils around, ensuring that you're not overlapping or crisscrossing the coils. You want them stacked one on top of each other. Don't worry if it's not too pretty to begin with. Once you get the coils wrapped on, you'll begin to tighten it up and get a nice coil going. After a little massaging and a little sweat equity, what you see before you is a fairly uniform copper coil for your Wort Chiller. As you see here, I've taken the copper coil and I've placed it into my brewing bucket. And the top of the coil, the free end, I've kind of goosenecked up, as you see here. And then from the bottom of the coil, I've pulled up the loose end and also goosenecked it. The top coil you'll have as your input line for the cold water, and then the coil you brought up from the bottom and gooseneck, that'll be the outflow. All I'm doing at this point is taking the plastic tubing and the pipe clamp. I've affixed the plastic tubing to the copper tubing, taking the pipe clamp and screwing it onto the two tubings, ensuring that they are both tight. Even though this won't be under a lot of pressure, you really just don't want to be leaking water all over the place. Now I'm just doing the same to the other gooseneck. Once again, affixing the plastic tubing on top of the copper tubing and then cinching down with the pipe clamp. So after connecting the plastic tubing to the white plastic connector, I've taken the garbage disposal connector that I found in the hardware store, and I've threaded the smaller connector into the garbage disposal connector, and this happened to come with a pipe clamp. So all I'm going to do at this point, even though it's not under any amount of pressure, is to take the pipe clamp, put it over both connectors where they join, and cinch it down. So basically we finished the construction of the immersion or Wort Chiller. I have the copper tubing here, I have the input tubing, and the output tubing. You have the garbage disposal connector attached to a smaller step-down connector to the tubing itself. And at this point, given the configuration of my spout, I'm going to take this garbage disposal connector and just ease it up over the faucet or the spout, and it's connected as so. So as you see before you, I have the input tube connected to the spout, and what I've done for extra added precautions, because it may come apart, is just attach the pipe clamp to it. And at this point, I think we're ready to test the system out. So what I'm going to do now is just slowly add water to the tubing. So you have the input tubing and you have the output tubing. And you'll check for leaks. And I see one leak, but all you have to do with that is just cinch down the pipe clamp and you should be fine.